Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you're listening to Skytown, everything Chicago Sky and WNBA related podcast. I'm back at it again. I'm super excited about it. Feeling a lot better than I was. It's been a crazy last few days for the Chicago Sky, who are currently sitting 19-6, best record in the WNBA. The Las Vegas Aces. Pardon me. Trail, I believe, by only a game or two. They have more losses than wins than we do. So that's the kind of difference there. But we are on one of the best starts to anybody in WNBA history. I'm looking at it and I'm looking at this roster, and if everything goes right, this could be one of the best rosters in Chicago Sky history. I mean, sitting right now, and we talked about it last episode as well, 19-6. At what? The All-Star break was last week? That is insane to me to think that we won a championship being a 500 team. Like, this team has been something special. This team is doing something special, and I can't wait to continue to see it. Dustin, thank you, my brother. I'm rooting for you. I'm not airing out your dirty laundry. But just know you're in my thoughts and prayers, my brother. We're gonna have our show on very soon, so I need a healthy stat man and a stat guy for me very soon. So my thoughts and prayers are with you, my brother. I hope everything goes well, bro. Truly. But with that being said, like Dustin said in the comments here, it's one of my favorite things about the Chicago Sky is, everybody wants to talk about the WNBA, but no one wants to talk about how the Chicago Sky are single-handedly carrying the city of Chicago in sports on their back. Everybody else looks like a monstrosity right now. The White Sox can't figure it out. The Cubs are so far away. The Blackhawks are farthest than anybody. The Bears are far away. The Bulls are kind of there, but they're still a ways away. The Chicago Sky are at a point right now where they're creating a dynasty. They are in win now mode right now. And it's honestly one of the best things to be a part of. We have an amazing episode for you guys today. First, we're going to be talking about one of the best players and defenders in the WNBA, in my opinion, my good friend, Rebecca Gardner. It's always great talking with her on the court. She's always just so full of life, so full of energy, and that's off the court. On the court, this woman is so electrifying. It is insane to me. It baffles me how she could just walk onto the court and change the entire momentum of a game with the second unit, and sometimes with the first unit. She won this game. I mean, she single-handedly took it over against Liz Cambage and the Los Angeles Sparks. They are currently sitting at 10-14. We busted their ass 80-68. And oh my God, Rebecca Gardner for the double-double, 18 points, 4 assists, and 10 rebounds in 25 minutes. Candace Parker had 0 points, 4 assists, and 11 rebounds in 27 minutes, which very unlike her, especially against one of her former teams. I wasn't really in that conversation of what was going on with that. But I did get to listen to the press game conference afterwards. I was a little late to it, so I didn't get a chance to interview anybody. But it was just outstanding to see Rebecca really do her thing. KahLeah Copper had 12, 2, and 3, and 20. Emma had 9, 3, and 1, and 19. Quigley had 11, 1, and 2, and 18. Courtney Vandersloot had 5, 4, and 2, and 20. Azure had 14, 0, and 0, and 22. Obviously, Rebecca's stats, 18, 4, and 10, and 25. Julie had 0, 4, and 3, and 17. Dana Evans had 9, 0, and 1, and 17. Lee had 2, 0, and 3, and 12. And Ruthie had 0, 0, and 1, and 3. Overall, though, an outstanding game, and it was so much fun to watch, to really see Rebecca Gardner do her thing. I mean, she was honestly, so my first two people, I know no one cares, but I'm just sharing a story. My first two people I ever interviewed was Dana Evans last year, before I worked with the Sky. And the ASAP network partnered up with them. It was Dana Evans. I just hit her up and she was willing to come on the show, which was Mike on the Mic. And then my very first day working for the Chicago Sky with the All Sports All Plays network, I got to interview Rebecca Gardner, and that was probably probably about a week after she actually got called up to the team. That was or signed with the team. It was one of those situations to where she still wasn't on the scouting report. She still wasn't really known unless you watch overseas basketball, unless you are a player in the WNBA and really follow women's basketball. Because if you truly follow it, you've heard of Rebecca Gardner. But if you're just watching the WNBA, you wouldn't have known who she is. Obviously, this isn't a 20-year-old girl coming into the league. This is a 30-year-old woman who's been super experienced throughout the league and really carries herself with just this winning mentality. And I think a big part of that is playing overseas. You get that winning mentality. We've talked about that with Emma Meesseman, BG, and so many others. And obviously, by the way, for anybody that was wondering, we do have updates on BG. We're going to be having that on Beyond the Rim, which will be coming back soon with Megan Price, Alana Trapp, and myself. Super excited about that. But with that being said, there's just so much to talk about. There's just so much to talk about. I'm super excited about that game as a whole, just because it screams what everybody's looking for right now out of Rebecca Gardner, pardon me, and that's truly what you need. Candace Parker can have 0 points. Let's reiterate that. The best player on this team, a Hall of Famer, the focal point of the turnaround of the Chicago Sky organization, can have 0 points and we blow them out by 18. That's insane to me. On the other side of things, in case you were wondering, it kind of was one of those games. Liz Cambage did not play. Skies had 12. Samuelson had 12. Akumbike had 16. I mean, like it was a decent game, but the bench unit for the Los Angeles Sparks they were not there. They were not there whatsoever. But the game I really want to get into, and obviously this is the game we have our last game. Shout out Megan Price, by the way, and her Wings. They put up a good fight. The Chicago Sky just beat them Saturday on July 16th, 89-81. The Wings are currently 11-14. Courtney Vandersloot did not play. She is in concussion protocol. I don't know why I said it like that. Like it was devastating news. It is devastating. But she'll be back. She's fine. She's just in concussion protocol right now. But the reason I say that is because Julie Altman, I mean, what a night from her. She was a starting point guard of this game. She had 2, 8, and 1 in 29 minutes and great defense. I mean, Julie did her job. 8 assists. I mean, from Julie, it wasn't. I mean this in the most respectful way too. It wasn't. What's the word I'm looking for? Expected, I guess. It's not that we didn't think she could do it. It's if you have 3 or 5, like that's perfectly fine. She hasn't been used to getting starting minutes. It is what it is. She fully took advantage of her opportunities. And Julie's a hooper, don't get it twisted. But I did not expect her to walk in there and play with that first unit like it was nothing. Like she didn't miss a beat. It was beautiful. She was making every single pass she needed to. She was feeding everybody at the rim. It was beautiful. I loved every minute of it. So shout out to Julie Allman. I mean, she really stepped up with Sleuth down. But Candace Parker had 13, 2, and 8 to bounce back from having 0 points in the previous game in 29 minutes. Kah had 23, 3, and 14 in 31 minutes. And we have an interview from her coming up, and Emma Meesseman. Emma Meesseman had 23, 7, and 8 in 32. Allie had 16, 5, and 2 in 31. Julie, like I said, 2, 8, and 1 in 29. Dana had 2, 0, and 1 in 11. Azure had 6, 0, and 3 in 19. And Rebecca had 4, 0, and 3 in 18. As for the Dallas Wings, again, it's one of those games where there was about 2 people actually trying. That's really how it felt. You have Marby had 22, 3, and 4 and 31. You have McCollum had 9, 1, and 6 and 19. Gray had 14, 1, and 4 and 26. That's really it. That's really it. No one else really contributed in a huge focal point. Arik had 15, 2, and 1 and 32. I have to give her flowers because she was absolutely hooping. But the bench unit, again, just wasn't there. And I keep reiterating that the Chicago Sky are the deepest team in the WNBA from top to bottom. And that's a big part of why I think we are who we are. Julie can come in and have 8 assists if Sloot's down. Like Sloot's the best point guard in this league. Without question, probably the best woman point guard in this entire world. Like that's just the reality of the situation. So for her to be able to miss and them to not miss a beat it truly speaks volumes of how deep this roster really is. But here's an interview really quickly from KahLeah Copper. Emma Meesseman is there as well. We didn't get a chance to speak to Emma because they were running short on time. But this is Kah just talking about the All-Star game and just talking about her role and where the Chicago Sky are at right now.
Hey, ladies, congratulations on the win. My question is for Kah. First off, I want to tell you congratulations on the All-Star game. I mean, it's well-deserved. I would have had you first team 100%, but I didn't get a vote this year. But my question is, earlier on in the season, Coach Wade and yourself talked a lot about chemistry and just building this team as a whole. And now throughout the last several games, we've seen various Sky players in multiple figures, in double figures, with double-doubles, especially Rebecca the other night. Can you kind of attest to, is this exactly where you guys expected yourselves to be, or is there still more growing to do?
There's always more. It's always room for growth. We sent them to the free throw line 27 times, so we want to limit our fouling. Making better decisions down the stretch. I think it's always somewhere in the game where we can get better. So I think that's what was really scary. But and we know that we want to grow. We want to get better every game. Like, we know this was a good game for us, but we just think about the little things that if we did differently, how different the score could have been. So I think this team doesn't want to do anything but be the best version of ourselves and continue to grow so that when the playoffs come, that we're ready.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, ladies.
Yay! That's my favorite part towards the end. By the way, every time Kah gets out of an interview, she's always so excited just to be able to go home. And I don't blame her. I feel the same way. I would want to too. But it's always the excitement I think is dope. But with that being said, I think she hit it right on the head. That's what makes a championship team. They are playing the best basketball. And I feel like, whether we'll admit it or not, this is probably the best basketball this team is going to play. I think they are right at that level. They are right on that door. Really, the only missing piece to me, and it's not a dig, it's not a shot, Dana Evans. I think if Dana Evans can start to really just hit her shots, and like she was, like we know she can, that's definitely that missing piece. She's that missing scorer that I feel like this team could just go above and beyond with. And I'm super excited to see her and the ladies tomorrow at the game. They're playing Sue Bird, I believe, for the final time in Chicago. So that's, unless they play in the playoffs, but that's going to be super exciting. I've never got to see Sue Bird in person, so it's going to be a great game. Brianna Stewart hopefully will be a part of that game. I'm really excited about that as well. I've never get to see her play either, and I wanted, like I said, to be a part of the All-Star game, but with everything that happened tragically about a week prior in Highland Park, it was just very locked down. It was very constricted, and it was for the best. It was definitely for the best for security reasons. But with that being said, it's an amazing week of basketball for the Sky. Again, I keep saying that, but it really has been. It really has been. So with that being said, this is my cues. You have been listening to Sky Town on the All Sports All Plays Network, represented by the Chicago Sky and the WNBA. Definitely check out tomorrow's game at 11 p.m. Central. It is an early game tomorrow. I will be on the court. I will be talking to players individually after and post game. So definitely check us out there if you want to, or you can follow us probably around, I'll say around 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Central Time at latest. I will have an episode out following the Seattle Storm Chicago Sky game. If you guys do want to check that out, definitely feel free to be there. I will be here going live, hopefully with post-game interviews. But with that being said, again, this is my cues. Thank you for always listening and tuning in to Sky Town, where we represent everything Chicago Sky. Peace.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.